My father was a renowned chef for miles around. His signature dish, a whole roasted lamb, was so crispy on the outside and tender on the inside that it made everyone's mouths water. When the Prince Regent's beloved concubine heard of him, she summoned my father to the princely manor to prepare the dish. He went, but was thrown out, his entire body charred and blistered from being roasted over a fire. It turned out the concubine had a sudden whim. She wanted a roasted lamb that tasted nothing like lamb. My mother didn't shed a single tear. 3 months later, she set up a large pot outside the prince's manor and began selling lamb soup. The month after my father died, my mother took what little money we had left and went to see old woman Lu at the end of the lane. Lu was a mysterious woman with miraculous hands. She could restore a married woman to a virgin, but the process was said to be excruciatingly painful. One young lady had screamed through the night and nearly died. My mother returned without a sound of pain. Though her face was pale, she called me to her. Aining, from now on, you must not call me mother anymore, only sister. Do you understand why? I nodded. I understand. She smiled, praising me for being clever. She took me to the capital, found a dilapidated old house to settle in, and set up her lamb soup stall on the main street directly in front of the Prince Regent's manor. My mother learned her lamb cooking skills from my father. He was a local legend. His roasted lamb was more flavorful than anyone else's crispy skin. Succulent meat. Rich aroma without a hint of gaminess. Even people who swore they disliked lamb would find themselves eating piece after piece, while my father cooked. My mother helped in the back kitchen. Unlike other shopkeepers' wives, she never showed herself in the front. I understood why. My mother was too beautiful, so beautiful that she attracted trouble, and we were just common folk, without protection, trying our best to avoid any trouble that came our way. The only time my father ever sought attention was when the Prince Regent's household heard of his legendary lamb and invited him to cook for the prince. My father was overjoyed. He told my mother, "The reward this time will be generous. I'll buy you new clothes from the capital, and a pair of little gold rabbits for our Aining's dowry." I adored rabbits and threw myself into his arms. Little rabbits. I want little rabbits. My father laughed, hoisted me onto his back, and ran around the room. My mother chased after us, laughing and scolding. Don't drop her. Those days felt like a dream. If only I hadn't asked for those rabbits. I only wanted my father. My father was thrown out the back gate of the prince's manor by servants. Passers-by on the busy street avoided him, not daring to approach. He was already a charred mess, his skin blackened, cracked, blood and pus oozing from the wounds. Finally, a kind fellow villager came at night with a cart and brought him home. That man wept as he cursed. It's all that Lu Muyao. All her fault. Lu Muyao. Such a beautiful name. She was the Prince Regent's new favorite concubine, the most beautiful woman in the capital. When she heard of my father's skill, she asked him, "I hear you can roast lamb without a trace of gamey flavor." My father replied honestly, "Rest assured, my lady, this lamb will have no gamey taste at all." Lu Muyao's smile faded. "Then can you make it without any taste of lamb at all?" My father forced a smile. "But roasted lamb, by its very nature, must taste like lamb." Lu Muyao snapped her fan shut. "Who says it must? Today, I shall demonstrate how to make a roasted lamb with no lamb flavor." She ordered my father gagged, bound like a lamb, and placed over a fire. As the flames rose, Lu Muyao laughed behind her handkerchief. "Isn't this a roasted lamb without any lamb flavor?" Finally, staring at my father's blistered, split skin, her gaze turned venomous. I made it clear I would never be a concubine. The prince himself agreed. "Who do you think you are, daring to call me concubine?" Lu Muyao hated being called a concubine more than anything. An orphan. She had been brought back from the battlefield by Shaoan, the Prince Regent. They had survived life and death together, shared everything. Their bond was deep. But Shaoan already had a wife, chosen by his parents, a woman from an illustrious family. Even without deep affection, he could never divorce her. All that remained for Lu Muyao was the title of concubine. She refused to accept it. On the northern battlefield, We swore before the snow-capped mountains a lifetime. Just the two of us. And now I'm to be a concubine. Never. She chose to remain without a title, telling him, I don't care what the world thinks, as long as you see me as your only wife. Xiaowen was both moved and guilt-ridden, moved by her devotion. Guilty that he had hidden his marriage from her. He only grew more devoted. If Lu Muyao craved river delicacies, Xiaowen had fresh fish and shrimp rushed from the south. If she had a headache, he skipped court to stay by her side. As for her roasting an innocent man alive in a fit of ill-temper to Xiaowen, though troublesome, it was hardly a grave matter. He only sighed. Ah. Muyao is most sensitive about her status. That country bumpkin shouldn't have misspoken. Since he's not dead, have the steward pay him extra for treatment. My mother heard the village messenger relay these words. She said nothing. Only gently tried to spoon water into my father's mouth. He could no longer swallow. To the powerful, a careless word of treatment could erase everything. But how could a man whose skin was 7/10 charred and festering be treated? The physicians all shook their heads. No cure. He would only watch himself rot and die. My father was barely holding on. He had one last thing to say. With his final strength, he whispered, Lan Fu, promise me. Don't. I know. My mother said softly. Holding his hand, don't seek revenge. Don't worry, I won't risk myself. He's the Prince Regent. Even the Emperor fears him. What can a simple woman like me do? I'll just raise Aining and live well. We have enough saved. I'll close the shop. And we'll go on outings in spring. Watch the lotus in summer. Make osmanthus cakes in autumn. Build snowmen in winter. My father relaxed. Closed his eyes. A single tear sliding down his cheek. My mother wiped it away with infinite gentleness. Afraid to hurt him. Sleep well, she whispered. When you wake, I will still be your wife. Then she took the orchid hairpin he had given her as a betrothal gift, steadied her hand, and drove it into his blackened throat. After the funeral, I found a pair of tiny gold rabbits in my father's bundle. I clutched them to my chest. Tears washed the blood from them. I wiped my eyes and said, Mother, I want to go to the capital. My mother watched the paper funeral money scatter in the wind. After a long silence, she said softly, Of course. We must go to the capital. They say the capital is expensive, hard to live in. But for my mother and me, it wasn't so difficult. Her cooking was excellent. As soon as she set up her pot, people came running. I was quick and nimble, helping at the stall, taking orders and collecting money. Sir, your lamb soup. Enjoy. The soup was rich and milky, sprinkled with green scallions, delicious. Business flourished. Until one day, as I lifted a bowl, a heavy kick sent me sprawling. Aining, my mother cried. She tried to reach me, but our pot was kicked over, scalding soup splashing onto her skirt as she fell. Before us stood a line of burly servants from the Prince Regent's manor. Behind them, a beautiful woman in a goose-yellow dress. She frowned with displeasure. Smash their stall. Yes, mistress. As the servants charged, I threw myself over the pot, screaming, Help! Help! One servant grabbed me. I bit him hard. He howled and raised his hand to strike. Then a calm voice cut through the chaos. What is all this? The crowd parted. A man in a dark blue robe stepped forward. His dress was modest, with only a single attendant, but the servants immediately fell to their knees. Your Highness, the Prince Regent Xiaowen, the Emperor's own uncle. He looked displeased. In broad daylight, in the heart of the capital, you make a scene like a mob brawling. Is this fitting? Lu Muyao rushed to his side, clutching his arm, pouting. Ange, you know I can't stand the smell of lamb. I was just trying to ask them politely to move farther away, but this wretched brat bit one of my men, and they accidentally knocked over the pot. The servant held up his bloody hand in evidence. Xiaowen sighed. Very well. Help them move the stall elsewhere. Two servants seized my mother. She tried to stand, but stumbled. Her skirt fell back. revealing her legs. Scalded red, her veil slipped, and her face was revealed. Plain clothes and wooden hairpins cannot hide such beauty. The servants froze. Even Shaoan paused. A beauty in tears. 3 times more pitiable. My mother, holding back tears, kowtowed slowly. We offended your highness. We deserve death. We will move far away and never appear before you again. She tried to lift the heavy pot with my help, her injured legs trembling. The sight was wretched. For a moment, I saw Shaoan instinctively reach out to help her. He withdrew his hand, but Lu Muyao saw it. Behind him, her eyes burned with hatred. We moved to the west side of town, rented a small storefront. It was remote. Business sparse, we barely made a living. I gathered herbs from the hills, hoping to treat my mother's burns. She kissed my forehead, then threw the herbs into the brazier. I can't use them. I understood. But tears stung my eyes. My father had doted on her. A scratch would send him into a panic. Seeing her like this would break him. My mother looked at her wounds and murmured, "This is nothing to what he suffered." Before she finished, a crash came from the front. Pots and bowls overturned. I ran out and saw Lu Muyao. She had brought a dozen maids and old women. They overturned our furniture, smashed our utensils. "What are you doing? Stop." I tried to block them but was powerless. Lu Muyao cracked sunflower seeds. "Where's that slut who's been seducing the prince?" My mother was dragged from the back. Her burns made walking difficult. Her wounded legs scraped over the rough ground, staining her skirt red. Lu Muyao had her thrown to the floor, then knelt, pinching my mother's chin with her sharp nails, spitting sunflower seed shells in her face. "Whore, you think I didn't see you playing pitiful before the prince, flaunting that face? If I don't teach you a lesson, your scheming heart will never rest." 2 old women pinned my mother down. Lu Muyao drew a golden hairpin, ready to slash my mother's face. "Stop." I threw myself over my mother, screaming with all my might, "Please, noble lady, my sister has done nothing wrong. Kill me if you must, but spare her." Furious, Lu Muyao drove the hairpin down toward me. A saucer flew in, striking the pin. It shattered. The hairpin spun from her hand. She gasped, clutching her wrist. My mother held me close. At the door stood a tall, graceful figure, Shaoan, in the dim light. His face was dark as iron. A shard of porcelain had cut Lu Muyao's skin. She stared at him, disbelieving. "Ange, you struck me. For this low-born whore. Because she's pretty. Is that it?" She lunged at my mother, but Shaoan caught her wrist. "Enough," he hissed. "You'll cause a catastrophe." They argued fiercely. Finally, Shaoan, pale with anger, blurted, "There isn't a woman in the capital half as jealous and shrewish as you." Lu Muyao froze. Her eyes reddened, tears spilling. "Yes." She laughed bitterly. "I'm the most jealous. But who else dragged you, wounded, step by step from the snow? Who bled herself to save you? Who would die for you? I should have died in the north, then you'd remember me forever. Instead of humiliating me for a whore." She glared at my mother, tore off the locket at her throat, threw it down, and ran. The servants knelt in terror. One picked up the locket. "Your Highness, Lady Muyao was raised in the north. She doesn't know our capital's manners. But her heart is true. A woman's heart, once broken, is hard to mend. Please go after her. She's unfamiliar with the city, might come to harm." Shaoan took the locket. He looked back at my mother. She knelt, head bowed. From his angle, he could only see the pale nape of her neck. She knew he was looking, but did not raise her eyes. Shaoan closed his own. In the end, he clasped the locket and went after Lu Muyao. For many days, I saw no more of Shaoan. Only rumors from outside brought news. Shaoan had reconciled with Lu Muyao. He bought her an entire jewelry shop for her birthday. He ordered 1,000 lanterns released at the festival to make her smile. People marveled at his favor, and they mocked my mother. Foolish woman. flashing that seductive face before the prince. What else could it be? Just wait until Lady Muyao has time to deal with her. I hear Lady Muyao's methods are cruel. That slut's days are numbered. No wonder they talked. The last woman who tried to catch the prince's eye was a maid in his study. She merely pinned a flower in her hair and smiled at him too much. The next day, her body was found in a well, her face slashed beyond recognition. Women who came between Xiaowen and Lu Muyao always met such ends. Late at night, afraid, I took my mother's hand. It was cold, but her smile was warm. She kissed my forehead. Aining, remember. Most people in this world live far from the truth. Their words are not worth heeding. We need only mind our own business. After Lu Muyao's rampage, we had no customers. Still, my mother cleaned the table and prepared ingredients every day. Then, on a very quiet night, a horse appeared at the end of the lane. Xiaowen, alone. He pushed open the creaking wooden door. Are you closed? My mother came from the back. They looked at each other and moonlight streamed through the window. Their gaze seemed brief, yet infinite. Then my mother stepped aside. Please come in, sir. Lu Muyao would never know. Before she kicked over our stall in front of the manor, Xiaowen had been my mother's regular customer. After training troops, tired and weary, he would come in the night. My mother would have hot, delicious lamb soup ready, the only comfort in the deep hours. He always ate a bowl before returning to the manor. He wore plain clothes, claimed to be a guard on night watch. We pretended not to know who he was. Those were wonderful days. Xiaowen was no longer the powerful prince, just a hungry soldier, chatting over a bowl of soup with two sisters. My mother, her face still hidden by her veil, carried a soft, sweet fragrance like spring flowers. Her nature was warm and open. She kept a lamp lit for his late returns, asked about the scar on his hand, even teased him. Young soldier, do you have a sweetheart? Xiaowen smiled without answering, his ears reddening. Those days were gone. I set the dishes before him, his favorites. But the mood was different. My mother said little, stood far away, as if afraid to look at him. In the moonlight, the marks Lu Muyao had left on her face were still visible. Xiaowen looked pained. Several times he set down his chopsticks, wanting to speak. He found only one topic: the apricot blossom wine. My mother had brewed it specially for him, because he once mentioned liking the scent of apricot flowers. I used to grumble, big brother, my sister's silly, she won't sell this wine to anyone else. We lose so much money. My mother would turn away, shy. Now Xiaowen looked at her again, but she only stood, gazing out the window. Beyond it, the rain had just passed. The tree was bare. The apricot blossoms had fallen. Xiaowen never came again. Horses often galloped past our street. Xiaowen and his personal guard heading to the training ground. He passed every day but never entered. Things grew worse. No customers. And Lairs squatted at our door, shouting obscenities at my mother. They said she was after rich men, a whore who slept around. They said she was a ruined woman. I ran out with a fire poker. They laughed, pinched me, kicked me. Then, footsteps on the cobblestones. I turned. Xiaowen stood there in black robes. His hair damp with night had been standing in the shadows for a while. I, who had held back tears, now burst into sobs. Xiaowen ordered the idlers taken away, then lifted me into his arms. Where's your sister? She's locked herself in her room. She won't answer. I can't open the door. His face changed. He carried me to the back and kicked open the door. I screamed. My mother had hung herself. Xiaowen cut the rope with his knife, pulled her down. Her face was pale as snow, as if she might melt away. I wept desperately. Sister, don't die. I only have you. Xiaowen held her, calling her name. Lanfu, Lanfu. Wake up. That was her real name. She had once dropped a handkerchief with her name embroidered on it and an orchid flower, a deliberate lure. Xiaowen hadn't picked it up then, but it had stayed in his heart. The war of the heart, long and slow, had finally reached its turning point. My mother opened her eyes. Seeing him, she let a tear fall. Your Highness should not have come. Xiaowen grew angry. Indeed I shouldn't. But what else am I to do? You had every chance to ask me for help. But you never did. You knew those gossipmongers were sent by Lu Muyao. Knew I was secretly watching you. Yet you wouldn't even look at me. Because I lied to you. You'd rather die than ask. He was breathing hard. As agitated as I'd ever seen him. My mother waited for him to finish. Then softly, is your Highness done? Then please go. He kissed her, bitterly, between kisses. Try telling me to leave again. Fragrant smoke curled in the bedchamber. I sat in the courtyard. Feeding charcoal to the brazier's scent was lovely. Just like my mother's. Xiaowen emerged at dawn. I had already fed his horse and polished his sword. When I handed it to him, I was crying. He crouched down. Why the tears? I tried to hold them back. I'm so happy for my sister. And so scared for her. He looked moved. From now on, I'll protect you both. Aining has nothing to fear. The day my mother entered the manor, Lu Muyao went mad. She rushed at her with a sword but halted at the sight of a row of kneeling people, the idlers she had sent to harass us. Each had had their tongue cut out. Their screams garbled and horrible. Lu Muyao fainted. When she woke, she smashed every vase and screamed. Whore, you'll get yours. But the household no longer feared her. Everyone knew the prince's favorite had changed. Yet my mother was not like Lu Muyao. She was gentle and proper. Her first act was to pay respects to the prince's wife, Lady Cui. With tea, Lady Cui sat in her Buddhist shrine, dressed simply, knocking a wooden fish. Hearing my mother enter, she said flatly, I'm surprised anyone in this house still remembers me. She had been coldly neglected. Xiaowen did not love her. Lu Muyao bullied her. Servants slighted her. Lu Muyao even caused her to lose a child. And Xiaowen only said, Muyao didn't mean it. Love and indifference. The difference was stark. Lady Cui had retreated to her shrine. Her heart ashes. But now my mother presented tea. I will always remember you. My lady. She nudged me. Aining, you haven't thanked Her Highness yet. I held out the little gold rabbits. On their base, a tiny Cui character. Thank you, Lady Cui. Lady Cui's hands trembled. In her eyes, something broke. She remembered. In that terrible affair. She was the only one in the manor who had helped my father. She had been fasting, so hadn't attended the feast. When she saw the flames and rushed over, my father was already on the fire, charred beyond recognition. Lady Cui had long vowed not to fight with Lu Muyao. But that day, she pointed at her enraged, trampling human life. Aren't you afraid of hell? Lu Muyao only laughed. Oh, sister has come out of seclusion. Is the man on the fire your lover? But she waved a hand. Boring. This lamb's not good. Throw it out. Lady Cui knew she shouldn't interfere. Xiaowen's favor toward Lu Muyao was absolute. Opposing her only brought suffering. But she couldn't stand by. She sent word to my father's fellow villager, and opened my father's bundle. Inside, a list. By aining a pair of little gold rabbits. Those little rabbits, me father had never bought them. He never had time. It was Lady Cui who saw that list, wept, and took from her own dowry a pair of gold rabbits her father had given her. She placed them in his bundle. Thus, a father's last gift reached his daughter. Now, in the sunlight, the gentle princess and the lowly concubine looked at each other. The pieces of fate fit together. My mother bowed deeply. My lady once helped me. I dare to ask you to help me once more. Hatred is the most enduring emotion. Far more lasting than love, but it often flows deep beneath the surface, silent, unseen. The manor grew quiet. Xiaowen came to my mother's chambers every night. She prepared hot lamb soup to soothe his fatigue. Lady Cui remained in her shrine, a forgotten princess. And Lu Muyao fell strangely silent. No more weeping, no more fights. But we knew, her hatred ran deep, waiting to erupt. It came on a calm night. My mother had made the lamb soup. waiting for Shaowen. He never arrived. At dawn, Lu Muyao's maid came. "Shen'er, come with me." My mother was forced to kneel before Lu Muyao. I struggled to reach her but was pinned. "Your Highness," I cried. "Why? You said you'd protect us." A slap cut me off. Lu Muyao rubbed her hand. "Little wretch. Your sister has done such a shameful thing. And you dare call the prince." I looked at Shaowen through tears. He sat above, head bowed, not looking at us. His face was grim. My mother's face whitened. She struggled to speak. "Lady Muyao, Aining is young. If you have words, say them to me." Lu Muyao laughed. "Don't worry. It's your turn soon. Bring the witness." 2 maids led in an old woman, perhaps 80, hair white as snow, hands wrinkled, eyes vacant. My mother went deathly pale. Lu Muyao crowed. "You recognize her, don't you?" We did. It was old woman Lu. "Lu, enough." Lady Chui interjected. "Explain yourself." Lu Muyao sneered. "This woman suffered a stroke last year. Her mind is gone. But before that, she was a famous shamaness. She could brew poison, raise curses and turn a married woman back into a virgin." With each word, my mother paled. Lu Muyao smiled. "Shen'er, did you go to her?" Shaowen stared at my mother. She lowered her head. "If I say no, will your Highness believe me?" "Stop playing pitiful," Lu Muyao shouted. "We'll let her recognize you." She dragged the old woman forward, pointed at my mother. "Look, has this woman come to you?" The old woman stared at my mother a long time. Slowly, she nodded. A teacup shattered. Shaowen had dropped it. A shard cut his hand. Blood dripped. But he felt nothing. He rose and walked out, never once looking back. Lu Muyao laughed. She leaned down and spat in my mother's face. "Whore, this is what you get for seducing the prince." We were locked in a woodshed. At dawn, the clan elders would come, put my mother in a pig cage, and drown her. Shaowen had gone to Lu Muyao's courtyard. His headache had returned. She was rubbing ointment on his temples. The shed was cold. A big black dog barked outside. I was afraid of dogs. I huddled in my mother's arms. Trembling, she stroked my hair. "My Aining has suffered." She kissed my head and hummed a lullaby. Piglets eat their fill, close their eyes to sleep, big ears flapping, little tails swaying. My father used to sing that to me when I was very small. I fell asleep. I woke to the shed door opening. Shaowen stood alone outside. "Go," he said. Later, I wondered, did my mother feel anything then? Shaowen suspicious, cold-blooded, ruthless, was willing to let her go even knowing he'd been deceived. That was love enough to move any woman. But I never had the chance to ask. Before my mother could answer, a cry came. "Your Highness, there's news." A maid in plain clothes, Lady Chui's attendant. "The Lady Chui took an old woman Lu last night. Something seems wrong." Lu Muyao, overconfident, had thrown the old woman out after the questioning. Lady Chui, ever merciful, took her in and had a physician examine her. The physician's face was strange. "It seems the woman isn't truly Sunalesh's been drugged. They detoxified her." When Lu awoke, she was bewildered. Lady Chui pointed at my mother. "Do you recognize this woman?" Lu nodded. "But then, in the portrait Lady Muyao gave me, she made me study it, then forced down a potion. When I woke, I was here." Shaowen carried my mother from the shed. Lu Muyao rushed from her courtyard, hair wild, grasping at his robes. "Ange, I swear I didn't drug her. I'm innocent." But the evidence was overwhelming. Neighbors testified that Lu Muyao's men had forced the potion down Lu's throat. Lady Chui's servants found a portrait of my mother in Lu Muyao's chambers. Shaowen no longer listened. He pushed her into the mud and walked away. I slipped out the back gate. Old woman Lu was there. I offered her a pouch of gold. "Thank you, Granny, and thank the neighbors." She didn't take it. She patted my head, sniffling. Every time my mouth felt empty. I missed your father's lamb. Lu Muyao was confined. She raged, begged to see Shaoan, but he refused. He stayed in my mother's courtyard. When the first autumn rain fell, Lu Muyao fell ill, seriously ill. An old wound, the arrow she had taken for Shaoan on the battlefield. The poison had never fully left her body. Her maid knelt in the rain, weeping. Your Highness, please see Lady Muyao one last time. She may not survive. With the plea came the weathered locket, stained with blood, proof of their shared past. Shaoan couldn't forget. He took the locket. I'll go see her, he told my mother. She nodded, obedient. He went to Lu Muyao and called every imperial physician. Despite her tantrums, in her dying moments he could not abandon her. After 3 days of rare medicines, she woke. Her first act was to throw herself into his arms, sobbing, Ange, I don't need to be your only one. I was greedy. Please don't abandon me. In the study, Lady Chui poured tea. My father has a house in the south, with a trusted physician. Let Muyao go there to recover. Shaoan hesitated. Lady Chui continued gently. The physician said she mustn't be agitated, and with her temper, if she stays and sees Shenner. Besides, Shenner's belly grows larger by the day. It was true. During Lu Muyao's illness, my mother had been found with child. For the sake of the child and to calm Lu Muyao, Shaoan agreed. Lu Muyao wept, refusing to leave. I want to stay by your side. He soothed her. When you're better, I'll bring you back. At last, groggy with tears, she was sent south. Time passed. Shaoan asked after her at first, but less frequently. His heart turned to my mother. My mother was aging, fine lines at her eyes, fading brightness, but her cooking was still excellent. Shaoan craved her lamb soup. One night, he stroked her hair. Lan Fu, you have gray hair. She smiled, said nothing. She had gone gray the night my father died. He had only ever seen her dyed black. As her pregnancy advanced, she could no longer share his bed. In the long silence, his eyes turned to me. I was 13, budding like a willow branch. Leaving childhood behind, Shaoan started speaking of sister queens, of shared wives. The meaning was plain. Sisters serving one husband. My mother smiled softly. I fear we lack such fortune. He drew her close. Why? You and Aining are blessed. He misunderstood. She had said he lacked fortune. She intended to kill him. That winter, Shaoan fell gravely ill. Lady Chui organized the women to tend him, but within half a month, his condition worsened. He drove some attendants away with curses, bearing visible wounds. Everyone knew. Shaoan suspected poison. On a clear day after snow, he summoned my mother and me. He said the medicine had left him tasteless. He wanted her lamb soup again. She brought it. He didn't drink. Instead, he smiled at me. Aining, come, drink this. My mother paused. Your Highness. He said nothing, only murmured, Lan Fu, why does your soup always have this strange fragrance? Because it contains my blood, she said. Shaoan raised an eyebrow. Blood. But you have no wound. She did not answer. If your Highness suspects, I will drink first. She lifted the bowl, but he stopped her. Let Aining drink. I know how you treasure her. I took the bowl and drained it. It was divine rich, creamy warmth flooding my chest, almost intoxicating. Satisfied, Shaoan relaxed. His thoughts drifted. How is Muyao? I meant to bring her back once the child was born, and now I am ill. My mother did not answer. She collected the bowl. Shall I make more tomorrow? No, he said wearily. Very well, she said. There isn't much good meat left on Lady Muyao anyway. The room went silent. Shaoan turned, stunned. What did you say? My mother smiled. I told you, Your Highness, the soup's rich fragrance is my blood. She showed her unmarked wrist. And besides me, which concubine do you have? Shaoan's eyes went wide. He tried to rise, but collapsed back. You killed her. You and Lady Chui. He was quick, even sick as he was. Why? She didn't deserve death. He didn't remember. He only recalled Lu Muyao burning my mother's legs. Drugging old woman Lu, causing Lady Chui to miscarry. To him, those were just jealous squabbles, not murder. The other victims, those who had died by Lu Muyao's hand, were just ants in his world. He had never remembered them. My mother rubbed her forehead. Aining. I'm tired. You tell him. All right. Mother. Shaoan stared at me. You call her. What? I told him a story. You loved my mother's beauty. I said. But not everyone did. My father didn't. When he met her, she wasn't beautiful. She was a scrawny refugee. Hair tangled. Only bright eyes showing. Someone stole her bun. She fought. Bit until her mouth bled. My father beat the thief and gave her half his bread. She wolfed it down. Hungry. He gave her the other half. She ate that too. Embarrassed. Still hungry. He said nothing. She thought he was annoyed. Then he ran back. Here, he said, pushing his whole bag of rations at her. Wait. I'll bring you the best food in the world. And he did. Over the years, he learned every delicacy and cooked them for her. They had a daughter. A shop. They were happy. Until the Prince Regent heard of his roasted lamb and summoned him. I went to the cellar and brought out Lu Muyao. She had one breath left. Cursing me. I know who you are. You're that charred peasant's brat. When I tell the prince. She saw him. Shaoan. Bound. Laid on a pyre. Here's the first lamb. I said. Pointing at him. Second lamb. I pointed at her. 2 months after Shaoan and Lu Muyao died, my mother gave birth. She gave the child to Lady Chui, who had always wanted one but could never have her own because of Lu Muyao. Lady Chui held the baby, weeping with joy. Where will you go? My mother shed her silk robes for rough cloth. Where I belong. Old woman Lu and the neighbors found the little shop open again. The scent carried far, warming every customer's heart. Years later, a famine drove refugees to the capital. Rich ladies opened soup kitchens. My mother was among them. Old now, no longer beautiful, but smiling like a kindly bodhisattva. A half-grown boy came for soup. Again and again. Others grew angry. Wanted to beat him. My mother stopped them. Are you still hungry? She asked. The boy shook his head shyly, pointing at a haystack where a little girl peeked out. She's always hungry, he said, embarrassed. One bowl. Still hungry. Another bowl. Still hungry. My mother's eyes reddened. Enough. She whispered. It's enough. Aining. Bring 20 more sacks from Lady Chui. I directed the wagons. Everyone had soup. The boy gave a large bowl to the girl. Watched her drink. Still hungry. No. Good. He puffed out his chest. Wait. I'll bring you the best food in the world.